Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about a pre-trip inspection for the purposes of a road test. Yes, before you go down for your road test, you should, and I would highly recommend that you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle before you head down for your road test. And if you're going with the driving school, make sure you ask the driving instructor if in fact he or she did do a pre-trip inspection. Now, a couple of things that you should have with you before you head down for the road test. Money. You need money. The road test isn't free. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. All of these licensing agencies charge a fee for you to take your road test. So make sure you have money. You're going to need 2 pieces of identification, and oftentimes what I tell students is to take a 3rd piece as well. That way, if one of them is not accepted, you've got a backup for that as well. And then finally, don't forget your license. Glasses. If you have the condition on your license that you have to wear glasses for the purposes of driving, make sure you have your glasses or your contacts in, because if you don't have those with you and that's a condition on your license, they won't let you take your road test. This is just an extra thing. Have an extra key for your vehicle or a remote starter. That way, if you lock it in the vehicle or whatnot, you're still going to be able to get in the vehicle for the purpose of the road test. You just need fail-safes in place in case something happens. So essentially, the pre-trip inspection, start of the hood, just check the oil. You really don't want the motor to blow up because you haven't checked the oil or changed the oil in some time. So check the oil before you go down. If it's wintertime, as it is now, you're going to have spray off the roads. It's going to be dirty. You're going to need to be able to clean the windshield. So make sure you got your windshield washer fluid topped up. We're going to show you how to do that under the hood. Go around the vehicle. Make sure there isn't any body damage, no new body damage. Make sure your plates are in place, all the decals are in place, and all the lights are working. And as you can see here in the wintertime, make sure you have the vehicle completely cleaned off of the glass and the lights. Inside the vehicle, make sure everything works. The instrument panel, all the blinkers and lights, the seat belts, and the seats are secure. And make sure it's clean, because if you got fast food packages up to the knees in the footwells, they're not going to go for a road test with you. And as well, one of the things I've mentioned in other videos, make sure both plates are on, because if you borrow your uncle's car from a different jurisdiction that doesn't require a plate on the front, and you're taking your license in a jurisdiction that does require a plate, they won't take you out for that either. And unfortunately, that's kind of a sad event if that happens. So make sure you got all the plates and decals. Make sure you have the insurance papers as well, in the unfortunate event that something happens on your road test and you are involved in an incident, that you have all of that paperwork as well. So we're going to go here. We're going to do the pre-trip inspection for the purposes of a road test. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Driver. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about pre-trip inspection on road test day. Yes, you're excited, but make sure you do pre-trip inspection, because you don't want to be denied a road test because of a minor defect on the vehicle. So to do the pre-trip inspection, start under the hood, around the vehicle, check all the lights in the vehicle, check everything in the vehicle that it's working, and then the last check is to check the foot pedal, the brake pedal, and check the parking brake to make sure that those 2 things are working. So let's get started under the hood. Now, not too much to check under the hood. As I said, make sure that you have windshield washer fluid. Check your windshield washer fluid. On this vehicle, it has a dipstick, and I can see that when I pull this out that I have more than half a jug in here. Now, I would just fill that up because I'm under the hood anyway, and would fill up my windshield washer fluid. I just make sure that there aren't any hoses or lines that are cracked or broken. There isn't anything that appears to be out of place. I don't have any fluids or liquids pooling anywhere. And make sure that the radiator overflow tank is full, and just pull the dipstick out and check that the dipstick has oil on it. And you can see that here in the camera that it is in fact full. And that's basically it under the hood. You just want to check and make sure everything's good. You got oil in it and you got windshield washer fluid. That is under the hood. And then we just simply close the hood and make sure that it's latched. So after finishing under the hood, you go into the vehicle and start the vehicle. Turn your lights on, low beams on with your left signal on. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to check the outside of the vehicle. So we go into the vehicle. And for manual transmissions and both automatic transmissions as well, you're going to have to go into the vehicle. On a manual, you have to push the clutch in, turn the key to the on position. On an automatic, to get it to start, you're going to have to put your foot on the brake pedal. So we fire the vehicle up. After the lights go out, turn it on, turn your lights on with your left signal on, Make sure if you're driving a manual, it's in neutral with the parking brake on. If you're driving an automatic, in park with the parking brake on. So we get out of the vehicle, shut the door, and essentially your sequencing for your pre-trip is top to bottom, left to right. So top, no damage to the top. The glass is not chipped, cracked, or broken. No damage to the hood. The lights are working. The parking light on the right is working. The signal light is working. The license plate is in place, not damaged. And the decal on this vehicle is on the back. No damage to the bumper. Nothing hanging down, nothing leaking on the side of the vehicle. We look at the side of the vehicle, starting at the top. The glass is not chipped, cracked, or broken. The glass is not damaged. The mirror is in good condition. There's no damage, no new damage to the body. The tires are inflated. Give them a kick. The mud flap is in place. Nothing hanging down, nothing leaking underneath the vehicle. The rear tire, give it a kick. The light is working. The fuel cap is good, in good place. Okay, and the door opens and closes from the outside. The roof rack is secure. The light. So on the rear of the vehicle, the signal is working. The parking light is on. There's no damage to the top of the vehicle. The glass is not chipped, cracked, or damaged. Spare tire that has air in it, you can just give it a whack. License plate light is working. License plate with a valid decal. There's no damage to the body. The bumper is in good condition, and the trailer hitch is secure. And just the exhaust, just tap it with your toe. The exhaust is secure as well. Passenger side of the vehicle, parking light, top, no damage to the top of the vehicle. The glass is not chipped, cracked, or broken. The light is working. The mud flap is good. Tire is good. No damage to the body. The mirror is not broken or chipped. The mirror is not broken, chipped, or damaged. Mud flap is good, no damage. And as we mentioned before, the parking light is working. So now what we do is we go back in the vehicle, switch to high beams, and put on the other signal, and come back out and just do a quick walk around. Alright, so the high beams are working, the left signal is working, and the park light is working. This reflector is in place and not damaged. Again, we just do a quick from far away, no damage, nothing hanging down underneath the vehicle, nothing leaking. So we come around to the rear of the vehicle, the park light is working, the signal light is working, and we checked the license plate light once before, so it's working. The passenger side of the vehicle, we come up the passenger side of the vehicle, the signal's working, the light is working. Again, quick look on this side of the vehicle, no damage. We look underneath, there's nothing hanging down, nothing dragging. We already checked the tires, quarter fender, and the light and the reflector on the front of the vehicle are all working. Once you finish all of that, then you go inside the vehicle, and we're going to do the in-vehicle checks for the purposes of going for your pre-trip inspection. The reason we do all outside and do the lights is because if none of the lights are working, then the examiner will not take you on your road test. It's policy at most licensing centers that if there's something wrong with the vehicle, that it is not roadworthy, they will not take you for a road test. And unfortunately, at many licensing centers, I've seen students who've been denied a road test because something has been wrong with the vehicle. So make sure you do a pre-trip inspection. That way you're not going to be denied going out for your road test, because you want to ensure success. And the last thing you want is something to happen with the vehicle. So outside, the last thing you do is check the brake lights. So I have a stick to put the brakes on, to apply the brake pedal. If you just have somebody else that just can put the brakes on real quick for you, then you can check the brake lights and make sure that the brake lights work. And as you can see, all three brake lights are working on the back of the vehicle. And make sure your brake lights are working, because the examiner will do as part of his or her mini pre-trip inspection to make sure that the brake lights are in fact working. So check your brake lights. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in the vehicle and do the checks inside to make sure everything's good in the vehicle. Inside the vehicle, make sure it's clean of all rubbish. If there's any fast food containers in the footwells and those types of things, take them out. As well, I would suggest that you get your vacuum out or take it down to the local car wash and vacuum it out and wipe the dash down and make sure it's nice and clean, because just, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Then after all of that, ensuring that it's clean and whatnot, make sure that you have the paperwork for the vehicle, registration and insurance, and that it is valid and current for the purposes of your road test. This vehicle, I have a dash cam in here. Make sure you take your dash cams out and any other recording devices. You're not allowed to have any recording devices for the purposes of a road test, so take all of those out. The other thing I'll stress again about the outside of the vehicle, make sure that your license plates are there and in place, and if you need one on the front, make sure you have one on the front and you have a valid decal, because that will preclude you from going on a road test as well if you show up with a vehicle that doesn't have the proper licensing. So you come inside the vehicle, the seat is secure, this seat is secure, both seat belts work and buckle, and make sure you actually buckle them. Don't just think, oh, they're going to work, because you don't want to get down there and the seat belt doesn't buckle or something doesn't work. Okay? Seatbelt buckles, both doors open and close from the inside. You want to be able to get the examiner out, because the examiner doesn't want to climb over to get out of the vehicle. He or she will not do that. So make sure the doors work. Okay, start at the top. Both visors are working, because if it's glare, sun on your road test, you're going to need your visors. So make sure your visor's working. The glass is not chipped, cracked, or broken. Turn the key to the on position. Windshield wipers work and squirt. Okay, if you hit a puddle or something and you get a big splash up on the windshield, you're going to have to be able to clean the windshield. So make sure that the wipers work. As well, horns work. They're going to do that on their little mini pre-trip. They're going to get you to make sure the horn works. Nothing on the dash. We turn the key to the on position. The lights come on and go off on the dash. High beam indicator goes on and off. Right signal, left signal. Both those indicators work. Okay, we have the key to the on position. My window goes down and up. My mirrors are adjusted for me for driving on both sides. This mirror as well is adjusted for me and for driving. And I have the key to the on position as well. Make sure that your defrost controls work, because if you're going in the winter time or in the fall or some other time, you may need the defrost to clear the windows. So make sure that that is working as well. If you're in the summertime, obviously it's cooking hot. You want to make sure that the air conditioning is working, because remember, you want to keep the examiner comfy. Do all those pre-trips inside. We've checked the horn. The steering wheel works. Seats are secure. The vehicle is clean. There's no clutter. There isn't anything that's going to roll around under our feet. We've taken all the recording devices out of the vehicle, and there's nothing in the back that's going to roll around and hit us. If you are driving a car, as well as the same as the dash, make sure that there isn't anything on the rear window ledge that could potentially fly up if you're unfortunate enough to be involved in a collision. The examiner doesn't want to get hit in the back of the head by a tissue box or something else that's on that ledge, so make sure you take that off. Make sure that there is no obstructions to any of the glass inside of the vehicle as well. Make sure that the headrests are adjusted, and the headrest, the top of the headrest should be at minimum with the top of your ears. And you should be sitting comfortably 25 centimeters, and I'll leave a card up here in the corner for you for adjusting the controls of the vehicle for the purposes of your road test. Okay? No drinks, no food on your road test. Okay? And that's essentially what's you need to check inside of the vehicle as well. Make sure that you have adequate fuel for the trip. Don't run out of fuel on your road test. That would be very embarrassing. And I'm pretty sure that driving examiners will not push you back to the licensing center. So make sure you got ample fuel if you're taking your own vehicle, if you're not in a driving school vehicle. So that's essentially inside of the vehicle. And what I'll do is I'll leave a checklist over at my website, and you can find a link down in the description box, and you can head over there and get a checklist for the items that you need to inspect for the purposes of the pre-trip inspection. Now, the last thing that you need to do before you go to the road test center is you need to do a test on the service brake, which is essentially you need to make sure that the brake brings the vehicle to a stop and releases, and as well you need to check the parking brake. So we're going to do those two things, and then you'll be finished the pre-trip inspection. Testing the parking brake. So we turn the key to the on position. You don't need your seatbelt on for this because the vehicle's not going to move. So we have the clutch in on a manual transmission. On an automatic transmission, you got to put your foot on the brake pedal, turn the key to the on position, wait for the lights to go out, start the vehicle. Parking brake is on, into a forward gear if you're driving an automatic, into drive. Hands on the steering wheel in case the parking brake doesn't hold the vehicle. Out with the clutch. Just try and move the vehicle forward. It doesn't move. Same thing with an automatic. Just put it into drive and get a little bit of throttle and see if it moves forward. The parking brake should hold the vehicle in place. So you can see that the vehicle just sets down. That means that the parking brake is in fact working. We put our hands on the steering wheel. I had some difficulty with that. Put your hands on the steering wheel in case the parking brake doesn't hold. So for the purposes of your road test, the parking brake has to work and hold the vehicle, especially if you're driving a manual transmission. And for those of you in Europe who use the handbrake as part and parcel of driving a manual transmission, you're definitely going to need to know that your parking brake works. So check the parking brake, and that's how you do it. So to test the foot pedal, you just drive forward, apply the brakes. Brakes bring the vehicle to a stop, and you move forward, and the brakes release. And that's all there is to testing the parking brake and testing the foot pedal. And the vehicle has passed the pre-trip inspection. Now you're ready for your road test. Quick review of pre-trip inspection for the purposes of a road test. Check under the hood, check the oil, check the windshield washer fluid. Make sure there aren't any pools of fluids, no apparent damage, and that the radiator is full. Close the hood, come in the vehicle, start it up. Secure the vehicle by putting it in neutral if it's a manual with the parking brake on. If it's an automatic, in park with the parking brake on. Turn on the headlights and your left signal. Make sure all the warning lights on the dash have gone out. Go out and check the headlights and start at the top and work down. Make sure there's no body damage. The glass isn't cracked, chipped, or broken, because if you cracked, chipped, or broken on your windshield, they're not going to let you go for a road test as well. Make sure the plates are in place and secure and with the proper decals. Make sure the left signal is working, no body damage, no cracks, breaks, or chips in the glass, and the tires are properly inflated. Make sure the spare tire is inflated too, because you might get a flat on your road test. Not likely, but a possibility. Go around the vehicle, make sure all the lights are working, come back in the vehicle, turn your high beams on with your right signal. Go around the vehicle again, make sure all the lights are working and that the right signal is working on the vehicle as well. Make sure your high beams are working. And again, do another scan for body damage. The last check outside is to check the brake lights, and you're probably going to need a stick to apply the brakes or get somebody else to do it. Make sure the brake lights are working, because they're going to do that at the licensing center before they take you out for a road test. Then come in the vehicle. You can take off your gloves or what else you have if you do in fact have gloves. Check that everything is working inside of the vehicle. If you have a dash cam or any other recording device in the vehicle, you have to take them out because you can't take them for a road test. Start at the top, the visors, the glass, nothing's chipped, cracked, or broken. There isn't any debris on either the front dash or the window at the back of the vehicle. There isn't anything that's insecure in the vehicle. Make sure it's clean, especially the passenger side where the examiner is going to sit. Make sure that all the warning lights in fact have gone out. Check left, right signals. Check the high beam indicator. Check that your windshield washer fluid works with the windshield wipers, that those work. Make sure the defrost works. Make sure you have the paperwork for the vehicle, the license, the registration, and your own license, because you can't go for a road test if you don't have a license, right? Make sure that the doors work, the seat belts, the seats are secure inside of the vehicle. Check all of those things. And make sure that the parking brakes work and whatnot. Make sure that the doors open and close from the inside. And finally, the last check that you're going to do for the purposes of a road test is to ensure that the parking brake holds the vehicle when you apply it and that the service brakes respond. So in other words, they bring the vehicle to a stop and they release. That's the last part of your pre-trip inspection for the purposes of a road test. And I will leave a checklist for you over at my website that you can get, and that way you can go through that checklist and make sure that everything's working on your vehicle before you show up for a road test. Question for my smart drivers: have you been denied going on a road test because something wasn't working on the vehicle, or you forgot your prescription glasses? Leave a comment down in the comment section there. All of that helps out the new drivers going for a license. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. As well, hit that thumbs up button. Check out all the videos here on the channel if you're working towards a license or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. Lots of great information here and over at my website. Head over there. Lots of great information and online courses that you can purchase. Stick around to the end of the video. Funny bits and links to the other videos and to my website. Thanks again for watching. Good luck on your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye. All right. All right.